It's been really cool to see. I think it's a really, really cool tradition that we're doing here, and I think it means a lot to our players and our program right now.
It's had a rich history of people that have worn it. I mean, Bubba being the most recent.
Yeah, it's kind of shifted over the years. You know, we started back in 2015. I was the assistant coach then. I was our hitting coach, and I wanted something that kind of created an identity. I was huge in identity and kids having that. And we had, you know, 3 pillars back then. Toughness, approach, and intensity. Those were the 3 pillars of the pack back then is what we called them. But that's what I wanted. I wanted the number 3 to be the guy that best embodies those 3 pillars, and that people show up to our field and watch the game and watch that individual play and say that's what it means to be a Maryland baseball player. Yeah, I mean, the best of the best is the original one, Anthony Papio. I mean, that guy embodies every ounce of what the number 3 means.
That's something that meant the world to me as a player. You know, it was a lot of responsibility for me. You know, Coach Vaughn trusted me to wear that number and go out and represent that. So that was something I thought about on a day-to-day basis. That was really, really important.
He's tough. He was on an incredibly good team. That 2015 team had big leaguers all over the place, and he was leading them. And I think that takes a really special person to do that.
At the time, you look at the other guys on that roster, you know, we had 5 future big leaguers on that roster. Like, I was not near the most talented guy on that team, but I think him trusting me to do that just because of the way I went about my business, that was really cool for me, but also, again, I knew I had a ton of responsibility with that. I had to go show up and try to lead these guys that were really, really good established players.
So it started with him, and then, you know, we handed it off to a guy named Zach Jankarski, who's a Philly kid, comes in and cut from the same cloth, man. Wasn't just the most talented, but played like his hair was on fire and was tough and competed his tail off, and dude's an Army Ranger now. You know, then you transition to Randy Bednar, who's in pro ball, who wore it and did some awesome things for us. Obviously, Bubba wore it last year and probably had the most decorated number 3 year that we've had so far, and then it turned into something now that I think the guys take a lot of pride in, is that's grown to symbolize our captain and our leader. But as you looked into it, I think the one thing we were pretty fortunate with this year is I think there's 5 guys that you could plug into the number 3 very, very easily. And the 2 names that kept popping up without any question are Matt Shaw and Luke Schwiger. Those 2 guys are kind of the heart and soul, and we could have flipped it either way. I think Luke deserves every ounce of it.
Yeah, it's special. It's an honor. I think it's more for my teammates and not myself. I think being the guy that they can go to, they can rely on, and when they need the ship to be pulled, I'll be there to pull the ship. So that's the biggest thing to me, wearing that number. It's for my guys around me and not myself.
He leads both the pitching staff and the offense, which I think is kind of was the ultimate tipping factor for us. We went with Luke, and I think he's doing a great job with it. I think he's going to be a phenomenal representation of it. And I think it means a lot to him to lead that, and comes with a ton of responsibility that I think he's up for that challenge.
I was ready to take it on. Being a catcher definitely helps with my leadership qualities. I think I've always been a leader, but I think being back there as well helps me be the guy that calls the shots on defense.
Kind of for me, really cemented in the regional last year. That regional final game, that guy was sick as a dog, man. He was in the dugout before the game with 2 hoods on. It was 80 degrees, 90 degrees out, and I thought he was just tired. And, you know, I look up and he's just not feeling good. I wrote 2 different lineups out. I didn't think he was going to play. And I go down to the bullpen about 15 minutes before the game, and I was trying to talk him out of playing, really. And he's like, there's no way you're not putting me in the lineup. Goes out there, leads off the game with a homer, and I think got a couple more hits, caught the entire game. And I just looked up there and it's like, man, that's our kind of kid. But that moment really is what I hung my hat on and said, this is the kid we're going to put it in, and he's going to wear it and do it proud. You know, Bubba probably shouldn't have been in college anymore. Like, that guy, how he didn't get drafted or get a chance to play is a little bit beyond me, but man, we were all the better for it.
The way I look at it, you know, you look at Bubba, the previous guy to wear number 3. I mean, when you bring up Maryland baseball, he's always in the conversation. I think that's kind of my biggest goal, you know. However I do on the field, it's more leaving the legacy of how people knew you. And I think that's what Bubba did well. Everyone knows his personality, how he was, how he approached day to day, how he pulled up to the field every day, and I think that's the biggest thing.
A really good player at Maryland, somebody that, you know, 10 years from now, people look back and be like, oh yeah, that kid was good. To a legend in this program. Like, that guy cemented his legacy as a player at Maryland with what he did last year. did a great job and has grown tremendously as a player. You talk about a growth mindset. That guy has constantly tried to learn and improve his game, and both offensively and defensively. That guy is one of the toughest kids I've ever coached. I mean, he played through injuries early in his career, fought through things, and man, college baseball's a grind, and he lived up to that, and then, you know, got to experience kind of the mountaintop last year, both personally and as a team. And you know, I think he would look back and say he's really glad he came back for that year, and we were thrilled to have him, and I was fired up that he got to end his career and kind of cement his legacy here at Maryland.